The Pacific Islands, while scattered across a vast region, all face similar challenges when it comes to the effects of climate change, natural disasters, poverty, outbreak of diseases, and the lack of access to adequate food, water, education, and health. But as the late Teresia Tewa pointed out, there is no, quote, one, unquote, solution for all the region's economic and development challenges. Now there's a region-wide recognition of the need for considerable national, regional, and international facts and figures to be able to strategically devise and implement long-standing solutions to these shared problems. The global commitment towards sustainable development through the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, has placed an even greater importance on statistics, for without it, countries won't be able to effectively measure their progress. Central to that is the work carried out by the Pacific Community and other development partners through the 10-year Pacific Statistics Strategy, or TYPSS.
SPC has been very instrumental, and they are there and they will be there. It's more of our original statistics base for other countries. They have helped a lot in setting up most of the offices in the country, not setting up, but helping them with technical advice on the undertaking of statistical undertaking, for example, surveys, census, as well as helping them with different new methods to measure certain areas of statistics.
TYPSS was adopted by leaders of Pacific Island countries and territories in recognition of the need for a comprehensive plan to drive improvement and development of statistics in the Pacific region. TYPSS proposed a regional approach to maximize and coordinate resources to provide regional strategic leadership and thereby improve the scope and quality of national statistics. With the backing of the Pacific leaders, activities driven through TYPSS are being conducted by the Pacific Community and other partners in countries throughout the region. The Samoa Bureau of Statistics conducted the national census in November 2016, and it was also an opportunity to build on the healthy progress towards the SDGs.
We're going to have some updated information on education, useful for the education sector. We'll be having new information for the health sector, the environment sector, transport, and IT and communication sector. All of those will be, and so many other sectors, community sector as well.
We'll not only collect the number of people, the demographic information about the population, but it also collects a lot of other value information, like the value of assets household have, and also a lot of other economic statistics, which will help the provision of the benchmark information for the national account statistics.
Working towards achieving the targets under TYPSS in July 2016, Samoa became the first country in the world to offer national reviews of their SDG progress to the UN High-Level Political Forum, the institution responsible for implementing and reviewing progress.
We got a very favorable sort of response from the UN and also from developed sort of member countries that were there. You know, they thought that for a small nation, a small country, they didn't expect us to make this much progress and the commitment to advance our SDG. But it's also aligning the SDGs to your own national development processes. your own development goals. And I think for us, the fact that we have this sort of strong national planning processes, but then supported by sort of sector plans. So again, it's helping us with this sort of whole of government, that ministries are not contributing individually, but they work in terms of the sectors. They have sector strategies that will then enable them to contribute to the achievement of the national development strategies.
And certainly I think that Samoa will be able to, and has already started to, work closely with and share with countries here in our region on approaches that they might want to consider as they determine how they will report against the SDGs.
Phase 2 of TYPSS aims to ensure that Pacific Island countries and territories have the technical capacity to manage and implement all core statistical collections, including key administrative databases as required by national development plans, including national strategies for the development of statistics.
In phase 2, we have been able to come up with a standard questionnaire for the Pacific. And we call it Future Pacific Surveys Questionnaire, which of course it includes census questions. It's more of a standard whereby countries have to use it when they have the additional for their own use within the countries. It's more of an improvement to statistical offices whereby they organize themselves more to incorporate other data imaging needs to the offices. And not only that, the expansion of the staff budget increase. And these are some things that, to me, it may not happen if we hadn't have this specific strategy in place.
TYPSS has also enabled our small island states to adapt advanced technology in data collection. In October of 2016, the Tokelau Statistics Office, in partnership with Statistics New Zealand, carried out its national census. SPC's Statistics for Development Division provided technical assistance and worked closely with Statistics New Zealand to access and use tablets in the national census process.
We are now using tablets for the first time. Though in the past we've been using papers, now this time we actually managed to put forward and to discuss with our team in Stats New Zealand, why don't we use tablet this time? No, it will be very interesting. Not only it will motivate our enumerators to do some bit of tapping around in the villages, but it will make things much quicker and easier for them in Tokelau.
The shortage of young Tokelauans in the field of statistics continues to plague them and has resulted in their reliance on technical agencies such as New Zealand Statistics, SPC, and Pacific Financial Technical Assistance Centre for assistance. But in terms of progress towards sustainable development goals, in 2012, Tokelau became the first country in the world to achieve 100% reliance on renewable energy. The Bureau of Statistics recently conducted a household income and expenditure survey, which produced a poverty report, amongst others.
Well, just recently we did the 2011 census, and after that we did the 2012-13 household income and expenditure survey. Those are our most recent survey activities. We've worked closely with development partners, technical agencies like SPC and PIFTEC IMF, based in Suva, to produce some of the products, as well as the UN agencies to produce the poverty report from the Household Income and Expenditure Survey. We've had other products as well in terms of for migration, and also in-depth study of youth population, fishing activities, agriculture, and those kind of issues that we produce from those two surveys alone. Just recently, we're working with PIFTAC IMF to develop our national accounts, balance of payments, as well as trade. We're working with SPC on that. These are the most recent activities that we're doing now in the past 2 weeks. Other kind of information that we produce, basically what we are mandated to produce under the Statistics Act. These are broken up into core statistics, which are official statistics, and ad hoc statistical activities, which we undertake when we are required to by government.
But being a small island nation also has its fair share of challenges.
One of the biggest challenges, I guess, is that there is no clear coordination mechanism for activities on collecting statistics. This is not just for government, but also for the private sector as well. Information is very scarce, especially when it comes to private sector information. As you know, we don't have any tax office at the moment that are collecting, that in-depth kind of data. These are economic data. Then there is also challenges with being a small society. Everyone knows everyone, almost everyone else. That people are a little bit reluctant to give out personal information as well to complete strangers or people that they may know as well at the same time. I think these are inherent challenges for small societies like Nauru and probably other islands.
In November 2016, the Vanuatu National Statistics Office conducted a mini census. Supported through SPC in what has been a major technological breakthrough, tablets were also used for the first time in Vanuatu to collect the mini census data. This was made possible through the close collaboration between the Government Information Communications Technology Unit and the Vanuatu National Statistics Office.
We were very conscious of when we, sort of bring on this idea of using the tablet. One is the cost, and the other one is the time required to spend with one house. So with the tablets, the idea came up not long ago, but I think the opportunity we had was a good infrastructure by the government, where they set up all the e-government in all the provinces, and digital and TVL network is quite good. So we thought that's an opportunity to take on this technology.
The different scenarios in Samoa, Vanuatu, Nauru and Tokelau gives us a glimpse into progress made and challenges faced on the ground by these countries. But this is a step closer to TIP's vision for Phase 2, which is to have a core set of statistics that informs the development of all Pacific Island countries and territories, supports regional benefits, and is respected and utilized in global reporting. The stark differences in statistical capacity and prioritization from their government is also a crucial factor.
I suppose the best way to tackle those challenges is better advocacy, better understanding just from the general public as well as policymakers, users of statistical data, to understand the purposes of why they're being collected and how they're going to be used, how useful they are going to be, to understand the environment or the living conditions and the social aspects and the economic aspects of the economy of society as well.
Our main challenge that we face is the ability to get the local to find the relevant people locally to work for us, to work in this area. We've been advertising our statistic officer position in the past, and we got very little interest from our local community. Either the interest is not there, or they don't have the qualification or the relevant experience to fill in the post.
While currently our small island nations may lack the technical expertise in statistical analysis, a new breed of thinkers are now emerging.
Here in the Pacific there is a certificate in official statistics offered by Statistics New Zealand, which is not a degree, so in terms of a degree this is the only university in the region. It's one of the few universities in the world, actually, offering an entire degree on official statistics. Official statistics is typically offered in other parts of the world as a master rather than as an undergraduate degree. So USP in that sense is unique.
Why I'm so interested in statistics and demography as such is because the value of information to help people is huge, and being able to look at reams and reams of numbers and data and using software that people aren't necessarily that aware about. There's a tremendous amount of satisfaction being able to interpret that data into something meaningful, you know. But there's also, I think, an ethical side to it where you have to be responsible that you don't sort of put across a story that's you know, too biased to one side or the other. You try and tell it as honestly and as fairly as possible. And I like that aspect because, you know, statistics really does feed into every discipline you can think of.
The course content was also encouraging because it highlighted the importance of statistics, how we calculate GDP, how we get the population numbers, you know, how we get the mortality figures, and how important those are in decision making. You know? Yeah. So it was really encouraging for us to know that how important statistics is in decision making.
There are plans to provide a postgraduate program in official statistics at USP, but for the time being, graduates either take up economics or population and demography for postgraduate studies. The focus for Phase 2 of TYPSS was designed to enhance coordination and governance arrangements, foster domestic demand for statistics through improved advocacy in communication, promote greater use and integration of administrative data, and enhance region-wide systems, methodologies and tools. A review of Phase 2 was commissioned by the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in 2017, and concluded that there continues to be improvement in statistical capacity in the region. However, several challenges remain relating to coordination, governance, dissemination, and accountability. The third and final phase of TYPSS, due to commence in 2018 for a 3-year period through to 2020, will leverage lessons learned during the previous phase and concentrate on enhancing the public value of statistics for evidence-based decision-making in the Pacific. Given the global financial climate, TYPSS Phase 3 is also promoting better coordination and collaboration among regional technical partners and donors. Moving forward, TYPSS will continue to address the needs of emerging policy and frameworks, such as Sustainable Development Goals. This will also assist individual Pacific states and the Pacific as a region to monitor progress towards the SDGs.
In addition to the finalisation of the roadmap, there will need to be considerable work done led by SPC and working very closely with our national statistics and planning bureaus, divisions, departments in our member states to determine the regional set of indicators. The roadmap will allow us to just work as agencies and as agents to be able to supplement or bolster or augment the support that will be required by our member countries or at the national and local levels to be able to implement and achieve the various development targets that they've set for themselves in their own development plans going forward.